Welcome to Module 3 of the GRR Technical Training Series. Module Aim and Reminders. This module discusses Requirement R2 of the GRR, the Waste Management Plan. This is the third GRR Technical Training module out of 8 in total. Before we discuss the Waste Management Plan requirement in more detail, it is worth just reminding ourselves about a few basic points. The GRR stands for the Management of Radioactive Waste from Decommissioning of Nuclear Sites, Guidance on Requirements for Release from Radioactive Substances Regulation, which was published in July 2018. The guidance is available on the SEPA website and can also be accessed via a summary on gov.uk. We use the term Radioactive Substances Regulation to cover the relevant legislation, which is different in Scotland from that in England and Wales. Although the legislation differs in detail, it shares common aims. We have written the GRR to fulfil those aims. Finally, please remember that the GRR applies to all stages of a nuclear site's life cycle and that all the requirements of the GRR need to be addressed for the final surrender of a site's permit. What is the Waste Management Plan? The GRR defines the Waste Management Plan as a documented plan prepared by the operator of a nuclear site, which provides a comprehensive description of the current intent for dealing with all radioactive substances on or adjacent to the site and demonstrates how waste management has been optimised. The Waste Management Plan is one of the two key deliverables that are required by the GRR. The other one being the Site-Wide Environmental Safety Case, which we abbreviate to SWESC. Further information on the SWESC is provided in Module 4 of this technical training series. Conditions have or will be introduced into all nuclear sites permits to require the preparation of a waste management plan and SWESC. These outputs are required regardless of the life cycle stage the nuclear site is currently at. Relationship between the Waste Management Plan and SWESC. It's important to remember that the Waste Management Plan and SWESC are closely linked. The operator should coordinate their development and maintain consistency between them. The Waste Management Plan is the practical plan that sets out all of the work to be undertaken involving radioactive substances. It also provides the evidence that a suitable optimization process has been used for waste management option selection. The SWESC provides the demonstration that the waste management plan is acceptable by assessing the impacts arising from implementation of the plan through to the end of regulation and into the future. There is a strong interdependence between these two outputs. The waste management plan needs to be shown by the SWESC to be environmentally safe. If not, the waste management plan will need to be modified. Therefore, there is potentially an iterative relationship between the waste management plan and the SWESC, which together will eventually provide the demonstration that the requirements of the GRR have been addressed. We expect the waste management plan and SWESC to be live products, which should be sufficiently comprehensive for each stage of the life cycle of a nuclear site. Waste Management Plan Requirement 2. Requirement 2 of the GRR states that operators should prepare a waste management plan to manage the programme of disposals of radioactive waste from their nuclear site and implement the plan to achieve the site reference state. In other words, the waste management plan sets out how an operator intends to manage the disposals of all radioactive waste until all work involving radioactive substances is completed. The operator should have a clear strategy to support the development of their waste management plan. The strategy is a high-level, integrated approach comprising an overall management strategy for the various activities required to ensure that the waste management plan and SWESC are properly coordinated and that they address all relevant considerations. Aims of the Waste Management Plan. The first aim of the Waste Management Plan is to show that radioactive waste management is optimised. This means considering what is the best option for each radioactive waste stream and area of contamination on the site. Optimization is covered by Module 2 of this technical training series. Secondly, the Waste Management Plan should describe how the site will be brought to a condition that meets our requirements for surrender. It does this by identifying all current and prospective disposals of radioactive waste, and demonstrating that any proposed on-site disposals of radioactive waste are optimised. The third aim of the Waste Management Plan is to support the arguments and claims presented in the SWESC that demonstrate the environmental safety of the site both during regulation and after release from regulation. Scope of the Waste Management Plan. The Waste Management Plan should cover all forms of solid radioactive waste, including existing waste in storage, structures such as vaults, ponds, ducts, and drains, including, for example, discharge pipelines that may pass through land not owned by the operator or may extend many kilometres to remote discharge points, and waste anticipated to arise, including future decommissioning wastes and any waste generated from cleanup of ground and/or groundwater contaminated by radioactive substances. The Waste Management Plan should also cover existing liquid waste stored at site and expected future liquid and gaseous discharges. Remember, the Waste Management Plan should identify past disposals of radioactive waste on site, for example, burial of radioactive waste in an on-site disposal facility, and take account of both the radiological and non-radiological hazards of the radioactive waste. We strongly encourage operators to take an integrated approach to the management of all wastes, both radioactive and non-radioactive, over the lifetime of the site. But the Waste Management Plan should give priority to ensuring an optimised outcome for the radioactive wastes. The Waste Management Plan should be appropriate to the nuclear site's life cycle stage and proportionate to the complexity of the activities and environmental circumstances at the site. Disposal routes considered in the Waste Management Plan. When identifying the optimised disposal solutions for a particular waste stream, the Waste Management Plan should consider all radioactive waste disposal routes, including disposal by transfer off-site to another permitted facility, disposal by emplacement on-site, such as void filling, disposal by deliberately leaving radioactive waste in situ, and disposals of liquid and gaseous radioactive waste by discharge to the local environment. Contamination, ground or groundwater. Ground or groundwater contaminated with radioactive substances is not regarded as waste while it remains in situ. However, if it is removed as part of a cleanup operation, this may result in the generation of radioactive waste, assuming it contains radionuclides at concentrations above the out-of-scope values. If the Waste Management Plan shows that it is optimal to clean up contamination to reduce radiological or non-radiological risks, then any radioactive wastes that arise must be included in the Waste Management Plan. The operator must identify optimised disposal routes for these wastes. Outcome of the Waste Management Plan. The outcome of the Waste Management Plan should be a set of integrated decisions about how the operator will manage all radioactive waste and contamination during decommissioning and cleanup of their site. If the operator proposes to dispose of radioactive waste or to leave radioactive contamination on or adjacent to their site, sufficient information must be included in the SWESC to enable adequate assessment of the impacts upon people and the environment. This is how decisions documented in the Waste Management Plan feed into the SWESC. Disposals by transfer to off-site facilities need to be included in the Waste Management Plan, but will not form part of the SWESC as the waste will no longer be at the site. All disposals of radioactive waste must be done in accordance with a permit. This is covered in detail in Module 8 of this technical training series, permitting and surrender. Format of the Waste Management Plan. Operators are likely to have a range of existing information, data, studies, and other resources that fulfill many of the requirements of the Waste Management Plan. Inventories of existing radioactive wastes and details of projected future waste arisings will be important inputs. Operators may wish to make use of the integrated waste strategy for the site if there is one. Operators can also refer out to radioactive waste management cases for higher activity wastes. Additional material may need to be assembled in relation to optimization studies demonstrating how the radioactive waste management proposals have been determined to be optimal, and if such a determination means radioactive waste or areas of contamination remain on the site, a full inventory of both will be required. The waste management plan should be sufficiently detailed to meet its intended purpose, taking account of the history and complexity of the site concerned. A developing or initial waste management plan may include a gap analysis against the GRR requirements and a work plan to close those identified gaps. But we would expect a waste management plan prepared to support an application for on-site disposal or for permit surrender to be appropriately comprehensive and robust. Just to be clear, the Waste Management Plan and SWESC can comprise a collection of resources that together meet our requirements. We do not require operators necessarily to produce dedicated documentation other than, as a minimum, a header document that signposts out where appropriate. Development of the Waste Management Plan. We acknowledge that the operator may not initially have the necessary information to identify and characterize waste and select optimized disposal routes for all radioactive waste that might arise. In this case, the operator should develop a program of work that will lead to the timely identification and characterization of all the radioactive waste on site and to the selection of optimized disposal routes and the implementation of appropriate subsequent actions. At each decision-making stage, the operator should make a written record that they have properly considered optimization. The waste management plan should include a record of the decisions the operator has taken and implemented, and the optimization considerations that contributed to those decisions when they were taken. This record should be as complete as possible, acknowledging that past decisions prior to this guidance may not always have been fully documented. Maintenance of the Waste Management Plan. The operator should review the waste management plan at least every 10 years or in the light of developments at the site, including things like achieving a significant milestone in progress towards the completion of all planned work involving radioactive substances, new information about sources of radioactivity in the ground or groundwater, for example as a result of better characterization of known sources or identification of new sources, or new information about the migration of activity in the ground and groundwater affecting radiation doses to people or the environment. The waste management plan may also need to be reviewed in response to external changes, for example in legislation, government policy, and best practice. When updating the waste management plan, the operator must also ensure that, if required, the SWESC is updated so that it remains consistent with the waste management plan. The waste management plan should be maintained as a minimum up to the point when all planned work involving radioactive substances has been completed. On those sites that are relying on a period of control for the purposes of radiological protection, activities associated with the land use during the period of control may require the waste management plan to be revisited if the changes on the site are significant. For example, if new construction results in remediation of contamination, and this generates radioactive waste. Directive waste and the waste management plan. UK legislation governing non-radioactive waste, or directive waste, transposes the Waste Framework Directive. This directive aims to protect people and the environment from the negative impact of waste while promoting the conservation of natural resources through the establishment of a waste management hierarchy. We encourage operators in their waste management plans to take an integrated approach to the management of both radioactive and directive wastes over the lifetime of the facility. The operator should demonstrate integrated planning for the management of both radioactive and directive waste. This planning should take into account all current and expected future arisings of radioactive and directive wastes and their radiological and non-radiological properties. The waste management hierarchy should be applied as appropriate. By using this approach, the operator should maintain a clear strategic overview of how they intend to manage the production and disposal of waste over the lifetime of the facility. This approach is necessary to ensure that relevant statutory, government policy, and other regulatory requirements are met in an integrated and efficient way, and to ensure that people and the environment are properly protected against both the radiological and non-radiological properties of all wastes. The waste management plan should refer to and be consistent with relevant integrated waste management plans and strategies. In particular, operators should take an integrated approach to the management of the production and disposal of both radioactive wastes and directive wastes from contaminated structures, for example demolition wastes, to ensure that there is an integrated plan that best addresses all regulatory requirements. This plan should be in place before demolition commences. Next steps. This module has covered requirement R2 of the GRR, the Waste Management Plan. While all training modules are designed to be viewed independently, we suggest that Module 4, Site-Wide Environmental Safety Case, is viewed next. Thank you.